riders, welcome to another kind of follow along, kind of not follow along, because we're gonna more so go over how to do trigger point release with a lacrosse ball, but not so much as a like actual follow along, because a lot of the time when we do this type of work, it's really up to you, the individual, to feel your body, what feels best, what is going to help you relax, what's going to help your muscles relax. So I can't really tell you in this moment what's going to be perfect for you to do. So you're going to have to listen to your body, listen to the feedback that it's giving. Ultimately, I'm just going to give a little bit of instruction of how to use the ball and where to put it to get the best release of certain tight muscles and stuff like that. But rather than our other videos that we're like actually going through it together, this one's a little more instructional based rather than like follow-on based. So lacrosse ball is perfect for trigger point release. The density, the size. You can use a tennis ball, it's gonna be a little bit softer. You can use baseball, it's a little bit bigger. So you kind of just have to adapt a little bit. But ultimately, the lacrosse ball tends to be one of the better options when it comes to this type of work. So we'll hop right into it. First thing is we're gonna get into the glutes. Now, glute muscles, there's the three of them: minimus, maximus, medius. So maximus can hold a lot of tension in it, but typically is pretty good because it runs more posteriorly up and down. Meanwhile, the minimus is very deep, and the medius, the one that sits on the side, actually is the one that carries most of the tension because it actually has a direct connection to the knee, so it helps to stabilize the knee joint and such. So we're going to kind of focus on that muscle to help relax a little bit more because of the amount of work that it does down at the knee. So to do this, pretty simple. We're just gonna find this back pocket. So if our pocket is right on the side, we got the bony process of our greater trochanter off the femur. Then we got our hip bone, and we're gonna go right in between. You're gonna feel that little meaty spot, and then you're gonna just go from there and go back about 15 degrees. You're gonna find this little hole, and then we're just going to kind of lean and lay over onto it. And you might have to work around to kind of feel the spot a little bit more. So once again, this is very much up to kind of finding the spots that are most tense on you. So like me saying, okay, I'm going here, I'm feeling this, is gonna be much different than what you're feeling where you need to go. But I'm gonna lead you in the general direction to be able to kind of find those spots. So I'm feeling this bit, we're, maybe like a 7 out of 10 on like tension. And what we're looking for is not a like complete release of tension. There's gonna be tension. So like if it drops to like a 4, 5 out of 10, rather than a 7 or 8 out of 10, that's perfect. That's what we're looking for, is kind of just that reduction of sensation, reduction of discomfort. So like I said, we're not gonna do every side, but I'm gonna flip it over and just swivel, show you again. So we got hip bone up here, trochanter, femur, and then we go into that pocket area, then we roll back about 15 degrees, then we just lay it over right on top of it. So it's pretty quick, pretty simple to get in there. And all we're doing is just hanging out. We're trying to relax as much as possible to let that tension dissipate out rather than like flexing and holding into it. If you're flexing and creating a lot of tension, it's probably too discomforting. You should probably light it up. So you can lighten up by pushing away from the floor a little bit to reduce that. So we don't want to be fighting that tension because we're not going to release it if we're fighting it, of course. So the next one is we're going to release a spot right by the IT band, but also the vastus lateralis muscle of the quad. So we're going to set this one up in 90-90. This is really nice because you can actually control a lot of tension in this. So I'm going to show you on this leg where we're going to put it, but I'm going to put it on this leg. So we're going to go roughly around in this area, right above the knee and slightly outside of the quad. What's nice about this position is I can control the pressure quite greatly in this position, because if I don't want that much tension, I can simply just back off, not put my hands on it. If I want a little bit more tension, I can actually press my hands in, I can lean forward, put more pressure on top, which of course in return is going to put more tension down below. So we're going to swivel that over to the other side. This is just our 90-90 position, which we can also do a lot of like hip swivels and stuff in this position. This is the first video in the new gym too, so welcome, checking it out. Love the black aesthetic that we're working with here, so A little bit different than the previous gym that we're making videos in, but this one's a bit more public during these videos, so we might have somebody come in and start working out, we'll see. But we'll just keep rolling and doing our own thing, trying to mind our own business as much as possible. So we got it over on the other leg, we just got that ball in there, looking for that release of tension. It's gonna feel different left to right as well. So like my right side, not nearly as tight, and part of that is this leg. For me, my left leg likes to externally rotate, which is gonna generate a little more tension on the outside of the leg. Makes a lot of sense. Next thing is we're going to release our anterior tibialis. So anterior tibialis has become a pretty popular muscle, tib raises and stuff like that, really good. So that dorsiflexion, but ultimately what we're gonna do is we're gonna place this ball. So we got the shin bone, tibia, then we got this little meaty area here of the muscle. And we're just gonna take this ball and we're just gonna drive it right into there. So we can kind of hold the ball in, find a spot of tension, and then just hang out. And if you really want to get into it, we can start to actually move through a range of motion in the ankle, which is going to put that muscle through contraction and relaxation. I'm not carrying too much tension in here right now, but it is a pretty common point of tension, especially for runners and cyclists and stuff like that. So if you're doing a lot of running and cycling in your training, this might be a good one for you to do. You might not even know it's tight until you put a little pressure on it, then you're like really feeling it. So we're just working out in that area, getting that tension to release. Come over to the other side, same thing. Once again, left and rights will not be the same. One side might have a lot of tension while the other side does not. So my left side tends to be usually a little bit more tight in the leg. So yeah, this one makes sense. Left side definitely feeling a little bit more. And you can move up and down a little bit too. You don't have to stay in one spot. That's kind of the beauty of this. It's self-massage, massage therapist, really good massage therapist that can perform like a sports massage will be really good at finding these areas for you. But we can't always go see those individuals every day, so this is our everyday massage that we can give ourselves. Really great pre-post workout and or even morning, nighttime. It's really good at any time, ultimately. So working out of the lower body, we're gonna move to the upper body. We're gonna go into the chest muscles. Now, pec minor, pec major, and subscapularis muscle of the chest tend to be very tight. Pulls that shoulder forward quite a bit. So I'm gonna do this on the floor, but you can also do this up against the wall, which is kind of nice to do. I would prefer it, but not gonna go over to a wall in here. But we're gonna do it on the floor, and I'm just gonna pin this ball basically on the outer portion of my pec, more towards the shoulder joint. And then I'm going to do like a snow angel arm with the arm that has the pressure. So as I get down in here, I'm just gonna get that ball in the chest, and then I'm just gonna slide that arm up and back down. Pretty simple. This one's very easy. You can support the head with your hand, or a yoga block, pillow, towel, whatever. Then you can also start to work into like internal, external rotation while doing the snow angel arm. So really good one, actually. A lot of tension release in this one. Easy peasy. We just pop it over to the other side. Exact same thing. So when we go through range of motion and we're holding a trigger point, we start to block the muscle in place, and then we start to get a little bit more relaxation out of it because of that. But active release in the tissue is going to ultimately help the nervous system relax, and that's what we're trying to get. Because the muscle filaments of actin and myosin get stuck on each other in that activated position. Of course, a knot is not actually a knot, right? So we're just trying to facilitate a little more relaxation through the nervous system to that muscle tissue. So next thing, we're just gonna go to the rotator cuff of the shoulder. Now this area, similar to the hip, we're just gonna go back pocket with it. So rotator cuff is a 4 muscle complex, 2 internal rotators, 2 external rotators. So this is gonna kind of cover more of the external rotators than the internal rotators. but those tend to be the ones that get injured more frequently, so definitely ones that we want to tend to. So we'll go on the side body, and then we're going to pull the arm out from underneath, so we don't want to be stacked with it. We're going to pull it out, and then we're just going to place that lacrosse ball in the back there. Then we can bring the legs up for comfort, and we want to make sure that we stay stacked over the top with that top shoulder. You're going to want to lean back to reduce pressure, but we want to stay over. From here, we can continue with that active release. We can press downwards where we get that internal rotation, which actually stretches the external rotators, and then external rotation, which activates them. So we kind of get a 2-for-1 here. So roughly, we're just going to work this until it feels a nice release. Like, it's really kind of up to you to feel what you're feeling, so I'm not going to give you a rep range or anything like that. We can switch it up. Of course, you can just roll over, but I will switch my position here. So for me, right side, definitely more tense. Probably gonna feel a big difference from left to right. You can see this right hand doesn't quite actually want to drop down quite as much. This shoulder has seen more trauma than the left shoulder, so it adds up. Definitely tight. And I do this, you know, not enough, but I do it, so this is a good reminder even for me. It's like, okay, maybe this is something I need to work on. Or have, you know, a good massage therapist or athletic trainer work on it for me. And that is always an option. You don't always have to, you know, use these things all the time for yourself. You can go get, you know, people that know what they're doing to help you out and help release that tension. But, you know, on a daily thing, unless we're high level elite athlete, we can, you know, have access to that all the time. This is a really good tool to at least give you something to do while, you know, you're on your own. So pretty simple, easy lacrosse ball type releases. Now, if you have any questions about this, please comment them below. If you like it, like and subscribe, and let me know what you want to see next, and we'll see you in the next one.